sort of come on and do that again. He did go forward and make a lot of the running that day. He was drawn wide. He's drawn more to the inside, but there's a bit more pace on today than at Vosslas. But if he just even runs to the same level, let alone if he actually takes a step forward, I think compared to some of the more exposed runners in here, he's going to take a lot of beating. But he is very short, and other than him is a wide open race.
And just looking at the way that race, he didn't beat much because 7 of them have run and 7 of them have been well beaten. So, you know, are we looking at a horse that, whilst he has an obvious chance, doesn't really make a great deal of appeal at 6-4?
I thought he looked far too short. He might well go and win, but there was definite element of not looking entirely straightforward last time out when he came under pressure. He was hanging across into his left, into the horse that he beat. He went quite a long way across. He's been free on a couple of occasions. He's missed the break. Now, he was obviously an inexperienced horse, but they've finished in a big old heap there at Vosslas as well. The time of the race wasn't very good, and it just sounds like you're completely knocking the horse, but it comes down to the idea of once a horse is a short price, the positives are easy to see, so you try and pick holes in it, don't you, from a punting point of view. The obvious positives are the fact that he's well bred, unexposed, in-form yard, arrives on the back of a win, open to more improvement. But, I don't know, the general profile of what I've seen from him isn't one of a horse that I'd want to back at a really short price.
No, so, I thought this would be like a 3-1, 5-2 the field, which at that price it would be more acceptable, but this is a lot shorter, which then just opens up everything else, because there's horses who are bigger than...
I mean, even allowing for a Kempton over round on a Wednesday night, there's still got to be something in there that's a little bit of value. So if you're going down that route, what are the horses that you think might be a little bit overs?
I thought Gregorian Girl of Dean Ivory, whose horses had been running consistently but without the wins, but he's slowly sort of bringing it back around, which is good to see because I like a few of his horses later on in the card, so we need to track that on.
I think he had a winner yesterday, day before, which is first for a while.
Yeah.
And historically, he's a very, very good trainer at this time of year.
But I mean, Gregorian Girl, even with Dean Ivory's horses being potentially slightly out of form, she's just been running really consistently. And with these low-level handicaps, I'd actually rather have a horse run consistently for me, as opposed to wins beaten. Mm-hmm. She's consistent. She sits up with the pace. Last time out, they held her up in an apprentice handicap, and the front two got first run, but she was staying on. So potentially, if Martin Dwyer today from stall 11, I'm not sure what they're going to do. I think it's just going to be Martin's going to have to figure out where the pace is. Do they hold her up? Do they not? But I mean, her run last time was good, and prior to that, she'd been contesting quite respectfully higher level races. So this grade looks like she'll be able to get another win into her.
Okay, so Gregorian Girl is an offering from Rachel, priced, are we still at around 10-1? I think we are, 10-1.
Yeah, she looks like the trip is well worth a go, doesn't it? Stall 11 isn't ideal, but it's not terrible over a mile. You've got a chance from there. It's a long way before you get to that first turn, unlike it is over 6 and 7, which is 1 and 2 furlongs closer respectively.
You're a great athlete, Chris. You're absolute star.
Come on, feel the force would be my one. I passed maths.
How many times did you have to try?
So come on, feel the force. Of course, distance winner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and 2 from 4 at the track, and I think on the win over 7 furlongs here a few runs ago, probably still looks reasonably handicapped. I mean, absolutely bolted up that day, won by a wide margin of 7 lengths, and that effort was backed up by the time that was pretty good as well. Now, things haven't gone great since then, but she has had a little bit of a break. She's been off since August, and for all this is a stable that their horses, if they've been off quite a while, invariably need the run, and Lee Carter's record generally is better on a quickish turnaround. This filly won on the first start for this stable following a 55-day break. They then kept her busy, and they've given her that little bit of a pause. And if that brought her back to form at a track where she's gone well in the past, then I think she's reasonably interesting with a claim back off her back. And she might get into a fair enough position, because there's a couple of pace horses in here, aren't there? And
the pace seemed reasonable. Rather more has gone forward in the past. let's just throw forward Padura Brave on a similar thing, really. Padura Brave.
She was the next
Well,
thing.
you know, I mean, again, she's got course and distance form in the past. Mark Usher had a winner the other day, and his horses that have been running slightly better. So there are a few horses with the more sort of standard class. If Basilisk isn't miles ahead of the handicapper, that might just make him have to work a little bit.
I mean, I think the question is basically, do we think Basilisk, particularly given his pedigree, treat gently his dam was a Group 2 and Grade 2 winner in France and the US, and Speightstown as well. We love them, full stop. But he's wearing colours you don't normally see at a 0 to 65 3-year-old handicap. If he's going to be the next thing, then great, he's going to win this. But there's very consistent horses in here. Prices they shouldn't be because he's in here.
Yes, so you can see a little bit of edginess for the Great Phoenix, who didn't appear to be overly well handicapped in these initial chances. 3 runs for Brendan Powell, 1 for Jay Kellaway off the back of an absence. Basilisk 11-2-8, Dancing Joe 7-1. It's Magic Shuffle that the market is preferring out that little cluster that were 10 or 12-1 chances for Adam Kirby, nicely named the Milkshakes, and Barry Brenner, another one that's won already this season. So, last one forward is the blindfolded Basilisk. Will the horse prove too good, as the market suggests? We will find out in the company of Allen.
Still trying to get the Great Phoenix into stall number 10. Putting the blindfold on Basilisk. The Great Phoenix in now. Basilisk moving up into stall number 5 to complete the line. And they're off, and Dancing Joe has lost the rider at the start. Dancing Joe has unseated Andrea Rezzini coming out of the stalls. But it's the Rasher and Maureen 5th Memorial Handicap Stakes over 1 mile, and Basilisk is driven to the front, leading out from Kodiak Lace and Gregorian Girl and Magic Shuffle. With those then the Great Phoenix and Rosa Moore. That's the leading group. They've raced on from Come On Feel the Force in the blue and white. Wider out from that one is Astral Girl in the black and white. Between those is Mystical Jadeite. The orange with the cheek piece is on. Much further back Padura Brave and Minetta, and Havana Sunset's just about last of all. On they go towards the end of the back straight. Basilisk taken on for the lead by Kodiak Glass. They're a length and a half in advance at a Rosa Moore, who is disputing 3rd place at the moment. We're down to that one's inside Magic Shuffle now, just getting a bit of a hurry along. Then Gregorian Girl from Come On Feel the Force and the Great Phoenix just in advance of Mystical Jadeite. Behind that one is Astral Girl, then Padura Brave, followed closely by Havana Sunset and Minetta. Top of the home run then Basilisk leading here, but only just from Kodiak Lass. Rosa Moore just in behind the principal pairing, then Magic Shuffle and Gregorian Girl, followed then by Come On Feel the Force. Astral Girl is trying to make ground out wire in black and white as they go towards the final furlong and a half. Basilisk is out in front, but here comes Gregorian Girl. Come On Feel the Force is trying to get there as well, and it's all changed now. It's Gregorian Girl from Come On Feel the Force. Then came Astral Girl and Magic Shuffle inside the final 100 yards. It's Gregorian Girl by a half a length over Come On Feel the Force, and it's Gregorian Girl from Come On Feel the Force who was home in second. Astral Girl and Magic Shuffle are pretty tight for 3rd and 4th. Then Padura Brave and Basilisk.
So Basilisk didn't live up to that billing, and a couple of the horses that both of you mentioned finished 1st and 2nd. Gregorian Girl beating Come On Feel the Force. Astral Girl was 3rd. Best news is that Andrea Azzini is okay and up after that early incident with Dancing Joe, which had obviously seemed to have even stacked the cards further in Basilisk's favour. There you go, and that's the best news of all, really, because it's not a nice place to, never a nice place to come off, but it was literally right at the beginning. The Gregorian Girl has won. Dean Ivory, they could be a yard to keep an eye on. The Ivory Yard. It's been a bit of a quiet time, and they've got an excellent all-weather campaign. Now, just watch Dancing Joe, stall 4. Comes out, just knuckles, and there's no way really back from there when you're accelerating at that speed. And thankfully, Andrea wasn't going fast enough to still be in line with the horses, so that's good news that he's up. Basilisk went to the front, did get a little bit pestered by Kodiak Lass, but didn't offer a great deal. Padura Brave, just make a note, is the one that gets most inconvenienced by the loose horse and stays on a little bit to finish 5th or 6th, but yeah, disappointment from Basilisk, who didn't really find much when the chips were down.
Yeah, but it was like he did last time. He was free, he was keen, he was still just completely over racing. Just, I don't know, I think the win last time, like Chris said, the form of that looks suspect at best, and and he's not ahead of his handicap mark if his attitude continues to be in this vein.
It's a good ride, that, from Martin Dwyer. The first couple of furlongs, there is every chance that horse gets posted deep on the track, as had been the case at Chelmsford. And he spends the first quarter mile just looking and steadily taking back and all the time edging in, to end up, once they hit the turn, just one off it's basically too deep with cover, not keen, and then gets a nice clear shot at things once they get into the straight. He could have very easily ended up 4 wide, no cover, no chance from where he was early on, and I think he's done really well to get her in and then produce her in the fashion that he did. And I think you're right, that stable form factor is definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, good resolution for the front two. We know there's Padura Brave chiming in a bit late, and possibly would have been third with a clear run. It was actually a relatively creditable effort by Astral Girl, who was 3 wide round the turn. She obviously again runs in colours that you're far used to seeing, better than 0 to 65.
Winning Oaks.
But nonetheless, that's
yeah. But that's probably that's the best run she's had thus far to date, and more important for her going forward is that's the shortest she's run over, because she's run over 1.25 miles and 1.5 miles in her career. Now the shorter trip, while it didn't produce a win, it's produced her career best effort. That going forward, that might be the way that Huey Morrison et al. Decide to campaign her over. Basilik's checks in probably 6th there. I mean, the unseeded Dancing Joe's done quite well to finish not 3rd, but minus Andrea Azzini. Yeah. I always do like to see that you know, if they do actually want to go and do it without the jockey's perseverance, I would mark them up.
Run off, if you know what I mean.
No, is it just mark them up for that? I mean, if I was doing it, if there was no jockey on me, I would just stop.
There isn't many do that. They tend to run along with each other.
So that's the start. You can see there's Dancing Joe, and unfortunately, always dropped the shoulder as well as the stumble, so it wasn't as if the head was going to come back in a straight line either. So
it does actually knock Basilik though, so maybe that's one reason that sort of lights him up a little bit early doors.
Yeah, I think he's just.
You're not happy, are you?
Generally keen. We're talking about horses running in colours that you're used to seeing better.
Do you think this is going to be sold?
I doubt very much he'll have too many more goes in those silks, will he?
No.